So the goofiest Super Sentai series I've seen so far. It's time for another review of Super Sentai on Tubi. I just finished watching Kakuranger, and here are my thoughts. The story starts out with two of the members of the future team accidentally being tricked by yokai and to unleash the seal holding them from this world. And after the yokai are unleashed, they're found by Tsuruhime, Ninja White, the de facto leader of the Kakurangers, although in practice that's not actually true. And they team up, form the team, get their powers, gain access to their mecha, the Muteki Shogun, which, if you watched Power Rangers, was the Shogun Megazord. A little bit into the series, they're introduced to the fifth member of team, the American Ninja Jiraiya. Now, Jiraiya is part of his clan moved to the States to look for something. I don't remember. It's never actually brought again. And the interesting thing is, in the early series, he only speaks English. He can understand Japanese, and the other Kakurangers can understand English. But yeah, early on, until probably a little close to the midway of the series, Jiraiya speaks exclusively English, and he learns Japanese over the course of the show, although they don't actually show him learning. He just starts speaking Japanese all of a sudden. But it's peppered with a few English phrases when he's in a panic. Just remind people like, hey, he's the American Ninja. Now, this series is both dark but also goofy. If you know yokai, then you can tell just how dark the series can be. But I would liken most of the action and storytelling to the 1960s Batman series. It follows the same formatting for Super Sentai. Monster of the Week, the Kakurangers fight, mecha battle, resolution with an ongoing story. They're introduced to their arsenal, which, strangely, the Kakurangers don't actually get the same kind of arsenal the way other teams do. Like, for example, Jetman, they start out with their swords, their blasters, their wing blades. Then they get the fire bazooka, then this other thing, and they have a set of two mechas. Well, the Kakuranger, they have their sword and their sidearm, the Kakuranger ball, and I think one other thing that I didn't see very often, but they have so many mecha. They have Muteki Shogun. They have the Jusho Fighters, which were the Battle Borgs in the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers miniseries. And they have the Kakurei Shogun, which were the basic Ninja Zords in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And they also have Tsubasamaru, which is this white falcon-like bird, which was adapted as the Falcon Zord in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But Tsubasamaru is just an entity of its own that doesn't actually have a pilot. Now, Kakuranger starts out with just as like, oh yeah, the yokai of the week, and then they introduced Young Noble Jr., who was adapted as Rito Revolto into Power Rangers Season 3. And when Young Noble Jr. is taken down, they have Shoot, Daimao, yeah, who is adapted as Master Vile, and it follows the same formula as like mid-season crisis, end of season, introduction, monster of the week, mid-season crisis, and then monster of the week with a few storylines followed by the lead up to the end. Now, as for the characters, I don't actually remember most of them. I mean, he's like, you got Sasuke, the leader, who just leader, Red Ranger leader guy. He's like all dedicated to justice and whatnot, even though he was one of the two people that unleashed the yokai, which I think was probably his character development. Like he became like dedicated to the fight because of his mistake. And then you got Saizo and Seikai. They're interchangeable in my brain because of the comedy relief. Then the American Ninja Jiraiya. Then Tsuruhime, who was is the true leader of the Kakurangers, but only because she was dedicated to the fight from the beginning. I mean, she was literally raised to be a Kakuranger. You got Ninja Man, which is the adapted as Ninjor into Power Rangers Season 3. Although Ninja Man is not the wise sage that Ninjor is, but more of just an excitable child. It was like he lived that whole like, evil makes me so angry in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. No, that's him getting mad at them being called a novice. That's the Shout Factory dub or sub translates it to. And the way it ended was actually unusual because most Super Sentai series end with them destroying the big bad, but they can't do that with Daimao because he's the embodiment of hatred in human hearts, and if they destroy him with violence, then like they're back to square one. So they got to seal him, and they seal him up with with their Doron changers, their morphers. And at the end of the series, Tsuruhime's father, who has his own arc, reclaims the household, and he's like, Tsuruhime, he's like, go live your life, because the whole thing about Kakuranger is they've been traveling around Japan in their living van, leaving a food truck, Nekomaru, and they've been selling crepes that they made throughout Japan to make money. But yeah, that was Ninja Sentai Kakuranger. I'm talking about this just in time for the announcement that this season of Super Sentai as of 2026 is the final one for the series. It's like they're ending it because they don't have they're not making as much money on toys. They're not making as much getting to the viewership. So it's like they're just like ended at a nice round 50. All right. Well, next up on my watch list is Choriki Sentai Oranger. But for now, next time, take care. Peace.